Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Well, let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. In Europe, we're joined by Bloomberg's equities reporter, Joe Easton. Joe, we're coming towards the end of the second hour of trading here in Europe. We're looking at the Stoxx 600 around the lowest it's been since just the days after Donald Trump's inauguration. With these tariff announcements, can we say that he's opened a Pandora's box, started a race lower for some key brands?
Absolutely, Pandora's box well and truly open. So we are going to start by looking at Pandora, because that is actually the worst performing stock in Europe today. We're down 12.5% on the maker of all those charm bracelets that we all love. Now, Pandora, according to Bloomberg Intelligence, makes 95% of its jewellery in Thailand. And as you'll know, Trump slapped a 36% tariff on Thailand yesterday. So that is accounting for the weakness there. But we're also seeing similar declines, not just in Pandora, but the sportswear names hit pretty hard as well. Adidas down 11% today. Puma down 9%. Nike was lower. JD Sports falling. And this, all a similar story. Production over in some of those Asian countries. Vietnam, another country that got a heavy tariff imposed on it. So anything made out of China and sold into the US is going to have a tariff, and therefore those stocks really hit hard today.
Indeed, and we're seeing that story play out in the pre-market session in the US as well. Nike shares down over 8% in pre-market at the moment too.
Yeah, and I mean that story continuing in Logitech shares also sinking on this news.
Yeah, so Logitech, this is the maker of headsets for PCs and that kind of thing, microphones. That one really hit hard as well. Now, this is a pretty big company over in Switzerland, and we're seeing the stock dropping at around 11% today. I was chatting to some traders about this one, and one of them flags to me that 30% of group sales are over in the US. They also have a lot of production in Mexico. So therefore, the big tariffs going on to Mexico is a big driver of that one. It's one of the biggest tech companies in Switzerland and leading them lower, falling by, as I said, around 11% now, and one of the biggest points decliners on the Stoxx 600 this morning.
Okay, so those are some of the shares that are dropping as the result of this. Are there any winners on the European markets that you can see?
Yeah, well, you've got to dig deep, but I will do my best. And actually, I'll take credit for a report out from Morgan Stanley. Sarah Simon, I'll give her a shout out, the analyst over there. She's saying that AB Inbev, the maker of Budweiser, is going to be a winner because they sell a lot of Budweiser, of course, in the US, and the tariffs coming in means that other beers will be more expensive, and therefore Bud Light comparatively cheaper for the Americans. So that is a point of note. AB Inbev was slightly outperforming this morning. It was only down around 0.5% when I last checked. Also, George Clooney might not be too happy because Nespresso potentially going to face more competition. Companies like JDE Peet's potentially could be a winner because Nespresso pods in the US may actually become more expensive as Nestle, which makes Nespresso, has to import a lot of their products at a higher price, and therefore the cheaper versions coming in and actually stealing some market from Nespresso. That's according to Morgan Stanley anyway.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.